For those of you who are just joining us, we will get started in just about one more minute. Okay, well, thank you for joining us, everyone. My name is Hillary Jones. I'm the Director of Professional Learning at Foundations, Inc., and welcome to our Beyond the Conference webinar series. Today, we have with us one of our very own, Brittany Stanton. And we will be getting started shortly. But before we do, I want to give you just a little bit of background and information on Foundations. We are a national nonprofit located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, and our mission is to improve the quality of education by building the skills of educators. We work across the school day with after-school programs, schools, districts, and states to create a brighter future for every child every day. If you're interested in learning more about Foundations, you can follow us on social media, and I'll drop that information in the chat as well. You may already know us from our signature professional learning experience, the Beyond School Hours Conference, which is held each year. In 2026, we will be in Orlando, Florida from March 1st to 4th, and we'd love to have you be our guests. And so now I'm getting ready to turn it over to Brittany Stanton, today's facilitator. She is one of our education specialists here at Foundations. Just so you know, this webinar will be archived on our website and on YouTube, so you'll be able to access it later. And now I'll pass it over to Brittany.
Thank you so much, Hillary. Hi, everybody. Welcome. So glad to have you with us today. We are going to be talking about engagement, specifically for the youth that we serve in our programs. So my background is in education, but I have worked in a variety of settings. I started out in the classroom, K-12, before moving to an out-of-school time program that was arts and academic based. And so a lot of the things that we'll kind of talk about today are very much resonate with my experiences, and I'll share some stories along the way of what youth engagement looked like in my time working directly with youth. But let's start off with just hearing from you first, just taking a quick moment to think about what youth engagement is or is not. So let's be clear. Youth engagement is not compliance, right? Just because the youth in our programs are sitting quietly or nodding along and acknowledging that they hear us that way, or completing the activities, that does not alone mean that they're actually engaged. It just means that they're compliant, right? They're doing what we've asked them to do. But engagement is not obedience, let's be clear. Engagement is about investment. And so when youth are truly engaged, they're thinking, they're questioning, they're contributing, and they're connecting what they're doing to something that matters to them. And this is particularly special in our OST space. Youth engagement is also not busy work, right? We want to give youth something to do, but not just to keep them occupied, right? We want it to be meaningful. So whether that's coloring pages or worksheets or repetitive tasks, if that activity does not actually have a purpose, a choice, or doesn't challenge them, then it's not really engaging them either. And in fact, it can actually have the opposite effect. So that might mean we see more boredom or frustration or looking like students are just kind of checking out during our program time. Youth engagement is also more than just giving a prize, right? Youth engagement is not going to be about rewards or tokenisms, giving out prizes that might be something that you do, or points, or maybe you have a pizza party, and those things might help increase participation, but it does not actually mean that students are going to be engaged. So external rewards, we know they motivate short-term behavior, but they don't really build that long-term interest or ownership. And it doesn't support that intrinsic motivation that we want students to be able to have, right, and develop over time. Similarly, inviting one young person to speak on behalf of many, or just adding a checkbox that youth voice is being included, it's not really engagement either. So true engagement, we want to make sure that we are involving youth in shaping decisions, not just reacting to those decisions. It's about meaningful participation and not just appearance. So with all that said, what is youth engagement? What does it mean to you? We want to hear from you. So we'll take a moment and let you respond here in the chat. Let us know, what does youth engagement mean to you and your programs and your work? It looks like a lot of different things. It might look like youth being curious. It might look like that student voice and choice coming to the forefront, right? It might look like students and youth that taking ownership over what they're doing in their programs. It could sound like questions. That's that curiosity coming through, right? It could sound like ideas. There's the student voice, right? Ideas for things that they are interested in, they want to do, projects they want to pursue. It's things like laughter, right? Are they not just showing up, but are they also actually enjoying what they're doing, right? We want them to enjoy these things. So we have a few things here in the chat. Yeah, so yeah, mentioned students asking questions. Absolutely. Participation. Yes, seeing participation is an element of engagement, right? Whenever they are participating in the activities, that's like the first step, right? But we want to make sure we're going deeper, though, that it's not just face value participation, but that it is truly engaging. And we'll dive into how do we kind of take participation and make it deeper into that more engagement space, right? And things like, oh, I love this, hands-on, brains on. Absolutely. Feel free to continue dropping some things in the chat to let us know what engagement means to you. But just remember that it's really about connection. So the work that they're doing, their connection to others, the connection even to themselves. And we're going to dive into this deeper today. Thanks for chiming in, folks. All right, so when we talk about youth engagement in the out of school time space, we're not just talking about whether kids are showing up and or behaving, right? It is deeper than just face value participation. We're talking about whether they feel invested, whether they feel inspired, whether they feel empowered. This is really going to be where we see kind of these three pillars of engagement come in. And those pillars are connection, motivation, and agency. These are the foundations that help youth go from just showing up and attending your program to wanting to be there every single day and thriving whenever they actually are there. So connection is first. This is really all about relationships. Relationships in the OST space are so important because it is, like we said, use the word foundations. It really is that foundational thing that is going to bring kids to your program and keep them coming back, right? Those relationships where they feel safe, where they feel seen, where they feel valued. And that could mean, yes, a strong relationship with the staff of the program. That is very important. But it also is a sense of belonging amongst their peers. or even in addition to those, that personal connection that they have with an activity itself. Without these levels of connection, it can be really hard to care, right? If we're not having that feeling of belonging when we come to a program, I might not care to be there. And when youth feel disconnected, that's when engagement just quickly fades away, right? So moving from connection we go on to motivation. And this is where we see the spark, right? This is that internal drive, where we see youth being curious, when we see them being committed. And we build motivation by making what we're learning in our programs relevant for youth, offering meaningful challenges that are going to get them thinking deeper and trying harder, and really helping youth see progress and their own growth over time. It's not about forcing that participation, but instead fueling it. And now we have agency. So connection, motivation, and now agency. It's that sense that my voice matters. Your voice matters. The youth, their voices matter. And the choices that they make shape their experiences. So when youth have agency, they're not just following directions. They're not just face value participating. They are contributing to your program. They are contributing ideas. They're solving problems. They're making decisions even. This agency turns passive participants into active leaders. And ultimately, we want to be building that within our youth because they are the future. And we hear it all the time. The children are the future. If we are able to support them in these ways, that helps strengthen and ultimately lead to them being able to engage as leaders. So with all these three pillars, and we make sure we focus on them very intently, youth engagement becomes really powerful and personal, and it lasts. We see it last longer over time. And that's when we're working towards in every program every day. We know that you all are doing a really, really important job to make sure that that happens. So let's dive into each pillar a little bit more and see exactly what does this look like in your program. We have some examples to share with you, and we'll have some videos. So before we dive into connection, we want to think about how connected the staff and the students in this clip that we're about to see seem. And so your annotation tool here on Zoom, if you go up to the menu, you'll be able to see an option for annotate and a little menu bar pop up with different annotation tools. You're looking for a stamp, a check mark, a heart, a star. And as we observe what's happening in this little video clip, we want you to react. From what you're seeing, do you think it's very connected? Do you think it's somewhat connected? Or is it not connected? So have your annotation tool ready. Let's take a listen and a watch.
All right, so we always start with our feeling check today. All right, so if you're feeling a little angry today, put a 1 close to your heart. If you're feeling a little sad, a 2 close to your heart. If you're tired, a 3 close to your heart. If you're happy, a 4 close to your heart. And if you're excited,
I just got a note from someone that we're having some technical difficulties with the annotation tool. So I'm going to restart the
a
video
5.
and ask that instead, let us know in the chat, what level of connection are you seeing here?
All right, so we always start with our feeling check today. All right, so if you're feeling a little angry today, put a 1 close to your heart. If you're feeling a little sad, a 2 close to your heart. If you're tired, a 3 close to your heart. If you're happy, a 4 close to your heart. And if you're excited, a 5 close to your heart. I am 5 today. Very good. So we have lots of feelings today, lots of mixed feelings. Anybody want to share why they're feeling a certain way today? So my morning meeting begins with the feeling share, so the sharing, and that kind of gives me a feel of the class pulse. Let's start with Hannah. You're a little angry today. You want to share why you're angry?
Because my brother, he gets me mad.
Are you comfortable sharing why he makes you mad?
Because I remember he bought a toy and he has a toy hammer. When I went inside the office, my brother had hammered my backpack, so that's why I'm mad.
All right, so that was our little clip here. A little, it looks like a circle activity, a little check-in activity. What level of connection are you seeing? And as you pop your answers in the chat, I want you to think about why. Why did you pick that rating? Why did you say it was very connected or not connected? What are we seeing in this video, in this little sample clip here, that's leading you to determine that level of connection? Are there any signs of disconnectivity even? Let us know in the chat. What do you think? Okay, go ahead, take your time. It's all right. We have some answers coming in. We're seeing somewhat connected here because all the students answered. And they were answering with the number of fingers associated with a feeling. Some, however, are not really paying attention while the one student is talking. This, I think, developmentally, right? This is a younger group of students, and this looks and feels a lot like something that I did whenever I was in the classroom, and I even did in the out of school time space as well, where we had that check-in circle, and there was something where their students were, we did red light, green light frequently. So like red light is I'm in a bad mood, green light's I'm in a good mood, yellow is somewhere in the middle. And so students have that opportunity to kind of chime in about how they're feeling in a safe way. But because it's that whole group, I can see how it might be more difficult to ensure engagement from every single student in that particular situation. We have a few more comments here. Very connected because students are thinking about what is being asked of them. Yeah, I mean, it's clear that they're listening to the instructions and they're following along. But I think to the previous comment, when we isolate and see the single little girl here who is called upon to answer the question, her peers around her may not all be very intently listening to her. There might be some developmental components that are contributing to that. There might be some classroom culture things that are contributing to that. But it is where we're seeing that maybe not all students are as connected as they could be. We have another one here, very connected because she took the time to find out why the student was upset. And I would say this is a great example of a connection in this particular activity between the person who is leading that group, right, that teacher, and that individual student. And of course, if the clip went on, if we were a fly on the wall in that classroom, we probably would see that she offered the opportunity to other students to also share a little bit more. So I think you all are sharing some very good insights into this very short clip around the level of connection. And there are some variables here that, like, if I had more information, maybe I could be more confident in my my answer around how connected folks are. But great observations. Let's take it a step further and think about this checklist that we have for you about what we're looking for whenever it comes to connection and how that might present in these different areas. So connection, like we said, that's that foundation for youth engagement. It starts with connection. When young people feel connected to the people around them, that's you as the adults in the program, when they feel connected to their peers, to the environment, to the activities that they're part of, they are more likely to show up, to open up, and to remain engaged. So what does connection actually look like in the out of school time space? We had a great clip from a classroom, but we know that OST looks much different. This tool here is breaking down kind of 4 key, what we're going to refer to as look fors, things that you could look for to understand if connection is happening or not. And these look fors are concrete things that we can see, we can hear, and we can feel when connection is strong. So first, there's the staff and youth rapport. This is at the heart of it. Do you know your students' names? Do all the staff know the students' names? And even more than that, do they know what lights those students up? What challenges might your students be working through? When staff take the time to really build those authentic relationships, youth feel seen and valued. And it opens up that door to trust, which is essential for real and continued engagement. The next is those positive peer relationships. So we want positive relationships between the youth and the adults in the program, but we also need positive peer relationships for youth. Connection is everywhere, right? It's about every kind of interaction that they might have within your program. So thinking about youth to youth, are they cooperating? Are they laughing? Are they solving problems together? Are there opportunities for them to work together in groups or as a team? What about peer mentoring? Programs that intentionally foster friendship and collaboration build a real wealth of a real wealth of resources for relationships in programs, right? It helps them feel like they belong. Okay, so now staff rapport, positive peer relationships. Now we're in that environment. Is the environment safe and inclusive? Youth can't connect if they don't feel safe. And that means physically, emotionally, socially. It also means setting clear expectations, planning predictable routines, and a culture where differences amongst each other are respected and celebrated. When programs are inclusive by design, every young person knows that your program is the place for them and that they are safe in your space. Our last look for in this particular category is staff presence and responsiveness. So are your staff tuned in? Are you tuned in? Do they notice when youth might be struggling or whenever youth might be having a breakthrough? Are they circulating? Are they observing? Are they listening? Are they stepping in whenever there's a need? Connection grows when staff are consistently present and responsive, not just by supervising, but engaging. And that's what is special about OST, right? We are not just childcare. It is so much deeper than that. So the program that I worked in, I told you I'd share some stories. I will try not to be too verbose. My time working in the out of school time program, there was it was a community-based organization. So students came from a variety of schools to our program. There was this one student, and they were a middle schooler. They had, every single time they came into program, they always had a tale to tell about how horrible their school day was. But this particular student also had just a lot going on in their personal life. They had experienced significant loss of friends and family. And for such a young person, it just really took a toll on them. And so this young individual, every time they came to program, they would come and find me, and we would have just a little check-in as soon as they arrived. And it became a really special time for us to get connected. And it's also one of those things where whenever I reflect back on that time, it makes me like my heart's a little sad because I miss that student. They were a really special light in the program, and that's evidence of the rapport that we were able to build, that adult youth relationship within the program. And I'm sure everybody here probably has a similar story of a special connection that they had with a student. Um, but thinking about what that student needed and what I saw from that student, what they were exhibiting, some of those characteristics of disengagement, because of all the other stuff that was going on in their life, and really being intentional to create that kind of environment where that connection can grow and can thrive, where youth can really take root in your program and get to know you, and you can get to know them. That's the level of connection that's going to make a difference. So let's see what you have to say about connection. We want to look at your connections. I want you to imagine that you are able to observe your program today, like a fly on the wall or a bird watcher from across the forest. What would you see? A poll is going to pop up on your screen. And I want you to take a moment and rank each statement from very likely to not likely at all. Just give us a second here for our, oh man, these technical difficulties today. Hey folks, I do apologize. We're having some Zoom issues on our end. Instead, how about this? I would like you, I'm going to drop it in the chat, some statements here. And I want you to think about what you're seeing as that fly on the wall. Let me just make sure that my chat is going to everyone. Initiate. Do youth initiate conversation with staff? Goodness. I'm having some technical difficulties. Let us know. Is that something that you would very likely to see or not likely at all? How about another one? How about diverse identities and cultures are present? How about multiple youth contributing, not just the most confident youth? How likely would you be seeing that? Staff circulating intentionally. How likely would you be seeing some of these things? Thank you for those who are chiming in the chat. I'm seeing a lot of likelies, and that's really good. So thinking about some of these things that you may or may not see, and then a little homework for you to brainstorm how we can move some of those less likely or not likely or somewhat likely up a little bit further. Thank you all for your patience with our tech. We're going to move from connection to motivation. And we have another clip for you. So again, same idea. We're wanting you to think about what you're seeing in this clip. Are they very motivated? Are they somewhat motivated? Are they not motivated? Drop it in the chat for us as you see it.
Students from 11 different schools all across the Okanagan gathered at UBCO this weekend to compete in the first LEGO League robotics competition, where students must build and program a LEGO robot that can complete specific tasks.
So the beauty of this program is it's all student driven. Students are supposed to come up with their own strategy. They choose which missions they want to complete and try and maximize the number of points they can do in 2.5 minutes.
Our highest score points is 155 with the robot. So there's different attachments you can put on using Lego. This is the bucket, this is the arms, and you just make a robot.
Not only are these LEGO robots able to complete tasks, but they do it without the use of a remote, making the task completely pre-programmed by the students prior to the competition.
They can only touch the robot when it's in its home and set the program, but once it's out on the field, it has to completely do everything by itself. So the kids have to pre-program it, test it, trial and error, persistence. They have to persist through, because there's a lot of times when it doesn't quite work the way they program it to.
Blaskowitz is hopeful this hands-on experience can help inspire the next generation to pursue a career in engineering.
What I love about the first program is it's building those core competencies with those students, problem-solving skills, critical thinking skills, all of those kind of pieces. This hands-on component, which is super engaging for the kids and hopefully inspires them to, whether it's going into engineering or some field where they're going to utilize those skills later on.
6 of the 11 teams competing at UBCO will advance to the provincials in Maple Ridge on March 11th. I'm Braden Ursel in Kelowna for Castanet.
All right, so let us know in the chat how motivated you thought those students were. It looks like it was a pretty specific, very special kind of program project that they were working on, but I was seeing, and right off from the bat, that student voice and choice was at the forefront here. And so I think that is really key to the level of engagement. I mean, obviously they love Legos, they're building things. It's very, very fun, right? But they're learning so many other wonderful skills through that activity. They mentioned critical thinking and problem solving, things that they need to be able to function in life, right? As they grow up. This is some of those 21st century skills that we talk about. And so, yeah, thank you for chiming in the chat. I do think that I agree. I'm seeing a high level of motivation from these youth in this very short clip. So let's take a look at the motivation section of our checklist, right? Connection was the foundation of engagement. Then motivation is the engine that drives engagement. It's what keeps the youth coming back, because it's more than they have to. It's because they want to. And so the things that we're going to look for are the relevance of the activities. So are youth motivated when they see the points behind the activities, when the activities connect to their lives, their interests, or their goals? The Lego, it was a great example, but think about the things you're doing in your program. Are they having that same level of motivation through the activities that you're doing? Are they exploring real world problems? Are they connecting with cultural backgrounds? Thinking about what are you doing that in your program and how relevant is it for the youth in your program? Our next look for is challenge and rigor. And so motivation isn't just making things easy. It's, in fact, a lot more than that, right? Youth are more engaged when they're stretching their skills, when they're challenged a little bit to grow, and especially when they feel supported as they do so. And so the right level of rigor says, I believe in you. You've got what it takes. And that belief is incredibly motivating for anybody. The next look for is emotional investment. So we're looking for those moments when youth light up, when they laugh out loud, they get frustrated because they care. They might be high-fiving up here after getting something right? It's those emotional signals that tell us that they're in it. we got them, right? And so when we build activities that connect values and identity and creativity, that creates that invitation for youth to bring their full selves. And that's whenever we see motivation really take off. The last look for motivation is really choice and autonomy. So nothing drains motivation faster than feeling powerless. You've probably felt this. I've felt this, right? We know that our youth have felt it at some point in time. So giving youth meaningful choices, such as what to work on or how to do it or who to work on it with, right? That helps them feel some ownership over their experience. Autonomy communicates respect and it cultivates motivation by saying your voice matters. So another story for you from the program that I worked in, we had this curriculum for girls in the program, the program served ages 7 through 17, but this curriculum was for 7 to 11, 12, right before they started going through any kinds of changes. And it taught them things about, health and wellness for themselves, things to anticipate, things like cyber safety and bullying. Like it just ran the gamut, right? But we also we didn't have anything for the boys in the program. And some of them were pretty vocal about it. They wanted to have their own special group too, and their own special curriculum. And so we heard their requests. And so we started a little group for the young gentlemen in the program, 7 to about 11, 12 or so, so that they too could have a special group where they could focus on things that were very specific to who they were. And there was this really special moment where they all decided amongst themselves that they wanted to do something special to honor Mother's Day. And because of the students in the program that came from a great variety of walks of life. Some of them had different home situations. Some had mothers in the picture, others did not, and for different reasons. But they planned a special day where they wanted to acknowledge the mothers. And then they invited the girl group to participate in the special event. They had that motivation and that autonomy to be able to lift their voices up and honor their mothers the way that they wanted to. And it was that motivation. They wanted it. And so when we design programs with things in these 4 things in mind in particular, right? We're looking for relevance and challenge and emotional investment and choice. We help youth tap into their own drive. And that's what motivation is all about. It's sparking that energy that fuels engagement from the inside out. Okay, so we're going to take a moment to reconnect with what really drives us, because motivation isn't just for youth. We also need to feel the spark. So in the chat, I want you to fill in the blank here. One reason I do this work is because ... Fill in the blank. Why do you do this work? And while you're thinking, let's take a listen to some other OST staff and what motivates them.
It's about unlocking potential. And once that potential gets unlocked, I believe it benefits the community, which in turn benefits us all.
I do this work, the work that I love, so that I can advocate for a marginalized community, particularly those children and youth with disabilities, so they have equal and equitable access to education.
I do this work because I believe that a caring adult can make a difference in a child's life and help them to reach their potential and achieve their dreams.
I do this work because I want to help teens and youth really understand all the options they have available to them, which is something that I didn't really get to experience.
It's about unlocking potential. And once that potential...
Okay, so let us know in the chat why you do this work. And while you are typing that answer, here's another question for you. What helped that young person stay engaged in your program that reminds you of why you do this work. So picture their face for a moment. What helped that young person stay engaged? Just drop us in the chat a word or a phrase about what helped them stay engaged. And then we also want to think about this question as well. What's the one thing that you could try this week to invite more motivation in your program? Take that question with you and stew on it as we move from motivation into agency. So just as before, we have a little clip here for you around students' agency. And as you observe, think about how much agency you're seeing. Is it a high level, a moderate, or a low amount of agency?
What made me want to speak on this panel was I had things that I wanted to share with the group. I wanted my opinions to be heard.
I was invited to by my board chair, Patrick Farmer, at Grist in Atlanta. I've never met anyone who tried to have so many hands in so many pots, and it was wonderful.
I feel like I have a lot to say about Vox and about teen programs because I've been involved in Vox for a hot minute, and because I run the GSA at my school, so I know what it's like to be in an organization that's teen-led and functions, and an organization that's teen-led and doesn't really function.
All right, let us know, what level of agency did you notice from some of the youth that were sharing their experiences? Thinking about what agency means, right? That we are giving them not just the opportunity and the platform, but supporting them in the things that they want to do. I think that obviously this video is sharing some snippets from interview conversations with youth. And so we are not necessarily getting the full depth of what their experiences are. But I would agree with folks in the chat. I mean, this is a fairly high level of agency. It sounds like they're driving a lot of the things that they want in their program. And that's what it's all about, is getting to that place where they can drive the decisions and drive the activities and drive their own learning and growth. So here we have our look-fors for agency. This is the third pillar, right? And when youth have agency, they're not just participating in the program, right? They're helping shape the program. They're making choices, solving problems, seeing their own impact in their community. And this is where we see them take ownership, right? And so our first look for is leadership and ownership. Youth with agency don't just follow, they lead. That might look like planning part of an activity or mentoring even younger students, helping to solve a group conflict or setting personal goals, tracking progress. When youth have the opportunities to step up and take ownership, they build confidence, and that is what we want to see. The next look for is youth seeing themselves as change makers. So not just that we are giving them the platform to be able to make change, giving them the ability to impact change the way that they want to, but that they see themselves as such. It deepens that whenever they believe that they can impact something beyond themselves, whether it's just within their program or even further out into the community or into the entire world. So do youth in your program have chances to identify problems and design solutions? Are they being encouraged to advocate and create and collaborate? Those are some of the things that are going to help youth see themselves as change makers. And our last look for agency is reflection. Reflection is such an important practice for all of us. And agency only grows through awareness. When youth take that time to reflect on what they've done, how they feel, what they might do next, they become more self-directed. And whether it's through journaling or a discussion or a quick check-in, reflection helps youth make meaning and take that ownership of their own learning journey. So I have one more story for you from the program that I worked in. There was an older group of students, mostly high schoolers, who there was one student in particular, their school was going to be putting on a Black History Month assembly. They came to the adults in the program and they said, hey, I'd really like to bring my friends from this program. I'd like to do a couple songs with them. Like I said, it was a music-based program. I'd like to do a couple songs with them at my school assembly. Would that be okay? And of course, the answer was yes, but it was entirely student-led. We provided some support around helping them learn the music and be prepared and coordinating, getting all the kids to the school for that assembly. But they picked the songs, they planned their little set. They did all of that. They picked their outfits so that they were coordinated. They did all of that. And so that was a really beautiful moment of agency for the youth that participated in that little project. And so when youth experience leadership or change making and reflection, they begin to see that they're not just part of the program, but they're helping shape the program. And at the core of agency is the belief that I have voice, I have choices, and I can make a difference. So we have a video here for you. This will feature some youth. It's from a program that really supported youth agency. And so as you take a listen, I want you to think about what you're hearing that demonstrates that there was youth agency taking place. I will also say that this video might be a little hard to hear, so turn up your volume and here we go.
And, you know, we're missing one, but I also want to shout out Trinity. She's not here, but she was my managing editor. She helped me so much with the presentations. We also had to work on the social media aspect of this. We created an Instagram. You guys can follow it. It's right here. So, yeah, free promo. But we had to, you know, find a way for students to be able to connect with the project and to feel like there was a space for them to just send their pieces and know that.
I made this during my time, and I was only for like 4 weeks.
Nice.
So yeah, we learned how to sew from a great instructor. His name is Mr. Keith. He's really patient with us, and he really is really helpful. And yeah.
Owner and co-founder of the business Crash Out, and this is the kind of stuff I sew over here. Crash Out is a business that started in the summer of 2024 by me and a few friends at the Niche Clinic program. We kept the business idea and decided to have a rebrand. Now we sell custom phone cases, hair bows, and bracelets. I've been in the Niche Clinic program for over 2 years now, and during my time here I've learned social, financial, and business management skills. Mr. Osai was very welcoming my first year, along with the other staff like Ms. Inskeep, who made me feel welcome and included at all times. The small business program has taught me and my peers a lot. It helped me find my niche and make all my business desires come true. I've learned how to manage the business world and to invest my money and to save my products. In this short amount of time, me and my peers have made over $300 in sales with our individual small businesses. Some advice I have for teen entrepreneurs is to be open-minded, don't be afraid to advertise, be persistent, and to have fun.
So the student debt lesson was very helpful for me personally. We also did a debate about it, so learning about that, I also used notes from that to help me with my debate. So learning about financial literacy has given me lessons that I can use in everyday aspects everywhere I go, because like I said, you use money every day. And I think it's very helpful and I can't find the right word, to help kids that are our age around the community right now to learn about money, to help us better in the future with how times are right now, just to help us get that step ahead.
All right, so let us know, how were you seeing youth agency in this video? So we had youth from a couple different programs talking about some projects and things that they worked on. And I think as you guys are thinking and dropping your answers in the chat about how you were seeing agency, I think that them just getting up and speaking in front of this was from a small kind of conference for providers. And I think that is to give the students the opportunity to stand up and share their stories in that kind of setting is also giving agency, right? For them to be able to come up and share their stories with a group of adults who only want to better serve youth. I think that's pretty incredible. And it takes a lot to get up there and to share your projects and the things that you worked on and speak in front of a crowd of grown-ups. I mean, I'm sure in front of your peers could also be a challenge for some as well, but wow, I just very impressed by those young people. Thanks for those chiming in the chat. In some ways, earning your own money is a means of giving youth agency too. Yes, I was very impressed by that young lady who shared about the small businesses that they were working on in their program. And good for them. Sounds like they reaped a little bit of profit from their project, which is great. Students chose what they wanted for their business to focus on and then establish it. Yes, yep. These are all great observations around agency. So as we move forward, just think about what you are seeing in your program or what you've experienced with youth over the years. And if you have a story about youth agency, we would love to hear it. So let us know, share it in the chat, and tell us what moments of youth agency have you seen in your program? All right, so we're nearing the end here. I want to just highlight a few things, right? Why engagement matters. This is important because engagement leads to autonomy, it leads to skill building, it leads to purpose. Youth who experience real choice, voice, and leadership begin to see themselves as capable decision makers. They learn how to assess options, advocate their needs, and take initiative. And those things are essential life skills. In engaging environments, youth practice collaboration, problem solving, communication, and persistence. These are all skills that they are going to need, some of which we talk about so frequently. They learn how to manage frustration, work through challenges, reflect on what they've learned. These aren't just program skills, they're human skills, and it's setting them up for success in school, in work, and life, right? Engagement fosters a sense of purpose. And when youth are emotionally invested, when they connect, what they're doing is what they care about. They start to ask bigger questions like, who am I? What do I value? How can I contribute? A sense of purpose isn't something we give them, but it is something we can help them discover through meaningful experiences and opportunities to make an impact. So yes, engagement helps your program run better today, but more importantly, it helps young people grow into adults who are self-directed, who are skilled, and are grounded in purpose. And that's a powerful legacy. So we've talked about engagement and why it matters, but let's focus on how do we make it happen in practice. We're going to look at 5 high impact strategies right now so that you can take them back to your program to help the youth feel more connected, motivated, and empowered. So think about these things. Design with youth, not for youth. Engagement starts with partnership. Instead of planning everything behind the scenes and hoping youth will enjoy it, bring them in from the start and ask them, what do you want to explore? What would make this space feel more like yours? Second, offer real options with real stakes. So this means that it's yes choice, but it's more than that. It's more than, do you just want markers or crayons for this activity, right? It's about making really meaningful decisions with visible impact. So can youth choose what project to pursue? What role do they take on in the group? How to present their work? These are real options. And that's important to make sure that they are really, really engaged in what you're doing in your program. Third, identify problems to solve or create around. So some problems we can't solve, but we might be able to create around those problems. So youth want to matter. Invite them to engage with real world challenges or tap into their creativity to invent something. Whether it's designing a campaign or building a prototype or even just improving your own program space, give them opportunities to think critically, act collaboratively, and ultimately see tangible results. Fourth, infuse culture and identity. Youth need to see themselves reflected in what they do. And so that means honoring backgrounds, experiences, languages, values, and doing that for youth, doing that for your space, the community your program serves, your staff. It all makes a difference. And then fifth, here we have refrain routines as rituals. So even small moments can be powerful when they have meaning. Going back to that first video clip we saw, right? Welcoming circles, moments for them to reflect at the end of something together, shouting each other out, sharing traditions with each other. All of that can build connections and belonging. So when routines have a heart, it's more than just, okay, we're doing this to get this done, right? They become something that youth look forward to and not just something to get through. So we have just a few minutes left. I would like to do one scenario here about engaged or not. So let's consider this scenario on the board and drop us in the chat here about whether you think that they are engaged and what you might look for to get more clarity around what's happening here. So Diego completes a group activity quickly, then walks around chatting and distracting others. When asked for refocus, he says, "I already finished mine," and shows it. It's done well. What do you do? How would you address this engagement challenge with our dear Diego? Let us know in the chat. I know for me, I'm thinking about, well, if it was already finished, it's finished and it's done well, is it too easy for him? Maybe he needs a bigger challenge, right? And perhaps maybe instead of walking around and distracting others, maybe he could lend a hand to some, right? Oh, and I see somebody actually said that in the chat. Thank you so much, Donna. Yeah, ask him if he would help some others who maybe are struggling a little bit. Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that I'm wondering is, as a fly on the wall, what does it look like as far as staff are engaging in the room? So thinking about staff presence and how they might be directing him through all of that. So we are very quickly coming to the end of our time. And we've talked a lot about what true engagement looks and feels like. And we looked at those three pillars: connection, motivation, and agency, and how we can support each of those with those 5 high impact strategies we shared at the end. And so it's your moment to take a beat and reflect and complete this sentence for yourself, for your programs. Youth engagement is like, because, for example, youth engagement is like a campfire, because when you tend to it with care, it grows, it gives warmth, and brings people together. So think about how you would fill in those blanks. If youth engagement were a recipe, what would the ingredients be? Thank you all for tuning in today. I hope that we were able to share some new ideas and strategies for how to kind of check in on your youth engagement and making sure that students are doing more than just participating or being compliant with what they're being asked to do, but that they're actually truly engaged in your program. Thank you for, we have some folks putting some ideas in the chat. Thank you so much for engaging in that way. And now I'll turn things back over to Hillary.
Yeah. Thank you, Brittany, and thank you to all of you who participated. I don't know about you, but it got me thinking about youth engagement and all of the ways and things that that can look like. I love the example in the chat of it's like a play or a musical production, right? There's the things that you can see on the front end, but there's also all those things happening behind stage and in the sound booth and in the wings. And so I think that's a great example. So thank you, Brittany, for joining us. Please, to our audience, take a moment and complete this feedback form survey for our session today. I dropped a link in the chat. We value your feedback and our aim is to meet your needs. A certificate of attendance will be sent to you within a week to all those who attended live and completed the survey. And so we hope you'll continue to engage with us and join us for our upcoming sessions in August. So thank you all, and we look forward to seeing you for what's coming soon. Give you like one more second, couple more seconds to grab the link from the chat so that you can get your survey, so that you can get your certificate. I apologize. And we'll see you next time.